So for rearranging, all it is that your X and your Y are not on the same side. So we're going to get it on the same side. I'm going to actually skip down to where we don't have fractions just yet and look at number 3. Right. So again, we just want X and Y on the same side. It doesn't matter as long as they're lined up which one comes first. So typically we have X, Y, and then equals a number. So here, this one is out of place. So I'm going to put it on the other side. And the way that I do that is I'm going to add that 9 over. So this is what your new equation is going to look like. Negative 18y plus 9x equals, what is 0 plus 9? 9. If you want to switch the x and the y, you can, but you don't have to. Okay, you don't have to. So now, if we look in this equation, the x is on the correct side. This y is not, so we need to move it over. And how do we move it? It's a minus 7y. So we're going to add 7y. So because we have y in the front here, I'm going to line them up. It's a positive 7y. It's a positive 3x. And then it's equal to the negative 23. So we're just lining them up the way that we had. Again, you can switch x and y. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Think about yesterday. If there's anything the same that we can mark out, or if we just change the signs, then we want to do that. But on this one, it's not. So we got to switch the front numbers, 7 and negative 18. And then distribute and solve. So we're going to start with the first one. We're going to distribute the 7. 7 times negative 18 is negative 126. 7 times 9 is 63. 7 times 9 is 63. Distribute the negative 18. This is exactly what we did yesterday. So the only thing that we do new today is moving them around. Okay, everything else is the same. So negative 18 times 7 is negative 126y. Negative 18 times 3 is negative 54. And then negative 18 times negative 23 is 414. Those are your new equations. All right, so our y's are exactly the same, but we got to get them to cancel out. So change, change, change. We've been doing that for 2 days now. And that'll get your y's to cancel out. And then you're going to solve like normal. Add 63 and 54. We get 117x. 63 plus negative 414 gives us negative 351. And then our last step is divide by 117. And we get x equals negative 3. Now I have x, so make sure that you go back in and plug in for y. Use either equation. It honestly does not matter which one. I'm going to pick the top one just because I'm picking the top one. There's no specific reason. If you like the bottom one better, that's fine as well. And remember what you're plugging in for. This is x, so it's going to go in for x. So negative 9 minus 18y plus 9 times negative 3 equals 0. Clean this up. So negative 9 minus 18y minus 27 equals 0. Add your like terms. Negative 9 minus 27. We get negative 18y minus 36 equals 0. We're going to solve for y by adding 36. Again, all things that you've been doing this week, nothing new. And we get negative 18y equals 36. Divide by negative 18. And y equals negative 2. So our xy coordinate is negative 3, negative 2. So we're only doing one more step, and that's changing the order. So if we look at number 4, all you need to do is make sure that things are lined up, okay? It doesn't matter what's where, or if one's on one side, one's on, it doesn't matter. So like this one, your numbers are already lined up, but your X's and Y's are not. You guys see that? So just switch these two. So here's what I'm saying. These numbers are lined up, leave them alone. Just switch your X and Y so they're in the same order as this. So on the first one, we're going to do 40 equals. We have a positive 8y and a negative 8x. On the bottom, now it's in order. We have a negative 10y and a positive 4x. Now, I don't necessarily like my number in front, and here's why. You need to make sure when you multiply by a variable number, okay? Not one of these. So what I'm saying is, when you go to distribute, switch these two that are X's. Don't switch the 40 and the negative 8. That's not going to help you, okay? We got to get an X or a Y to cancel out. So then we distribute, and we work with our two new equations. Okay, so 40 times 4 is 160. 8 times 4 is 32y. Negative 8 times 4 is negative 32x. On the bottom, distribute your negative 8. Negative times a negative makes a positive. 8 times 8 is 64. Negative 8 times negative 10 is a positive 80y. And negative 8 times 4 is negative 32x. So now we can see that our x's look the same. How do we get them to cancel out? Change, 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 like yesterday. Okay, same thing we did yesterday. Your x's cancel out. Use your calculator if you need to. 160 plus negative 64 is 96. 32 plus negative 80 is negative 48y. Then divide by negative 48. And y equals negative 2. Again, pick either equation. It honestly does not matter which one you pick. I think the top one has less negatives, so I'm going to go with the top one. 40 equals negative 8x plus 8y. Make sure you plug in for the correct variable. Y is negative 2. So 40 equals negative 8x plus 8 times negative 2. Again, all of this stuff you did yesterday and the day before and the day before. You get 40 equals negative 8x and a negative 16. To solve for x, I add 16 to both sides. And I get 56 equals negative 8x. We're going to divide by negative 8 and get negative 7. Write your coordinates. X was negative 7, y was negative 2. Remember, it's an XY coordinate. Let's give you a minute to finish that up. You look at number 5. We just need to put them in order. It does not matter what order you put them in, okay? I would put the X on this side and the number on the other, okay? So how do I get this positive 4X on the other side? Yeah, so just write it down. Subtract 4x. The 7y is exactly where it needs to be, so don't do anything to it. And the 23 is on the wrong side, so how do I get it on the correct side? So it turns into a positive 23. You do not have to show the work to move it around unless you just need to, okay? So look at the next one. The x is in the right spot, so we're good to go with it. I need the y on the other side, so how do I get this negative 8y on the other side? Add it. The negative 28 is on the wrong side, so how do I get it on the other side? Add it, so it's going to be a positive 28. What do you notice? Yeah, so we don't have to multiply because we have the same number. That's what I was trying to tell you yesterday on your quiz. So how do we get them to cancel out? Change, change, change. So your 4x's cancel out. 7 plus negative 8 is negative 1y, and I don't typically put that, but I'm going to go ahead and put that 1 there because that's what you guys do. And then 23 plus negative 28 is negative 5. How do I solve for y? Look at it. Divide by negative 1. And I get y equals positive 5. So I got my y, now I need my x. It does not matter what equation that you choose. I'm going to pick the top one. There is no reason for me to pick the top one. I could pick the bottom one. I just chose this one. Make sure that you plug in 5 for y. We get 7 times 5 minus 23 equals 4x. You can put all of this in your calculator at one time. Okay, it's all numbers, so it can all go in your calculator. 7 times 5 minus 23 is 12. How do I solve? Divide by 4. And I get x equals 3. So x, y coordinate is 3, 5. Very good. All right, let me see some more easy ones. Yep, flip it to the back. We'll work out the fractions at one time. Look at number 7. What's wrong with the first equation? Negative 7 needs to move to the other side. What else? And the negative 3 needs to move. So how do we move a negative 7? Add 7. The 9y was in place, so we don't worry about it. We just write it down. And then how do I move the negative 3? It becomes positive. Yep. So all you're doing is changing the signs when you put it on the other side. That's it. You don't have to worry about add, subtract, anything like that. Just change the sign. So the 24 is on the wrong side, so we need it on this side. How do we do that? Add, so it's going to turn into a positive 24. This x and the y needs to move to the other side. So what do they become? They're already positive, so they become negative. Do I have anything alike that I can go ahead and mark out? No. So switch the front two. Once you switch the front two, distribute. So here's our new equations. Negative 4 times 7 is negative 28x. Negative 4 times 9 is negative 36y. And negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. The next equation, distribute your 7 times negative 4 is negative 28x. 7 times negative 18, if you don't know that, is negative 126. And then 7 times 24 is 168. So now I do have a variable that looks alike. How do I get them to cancel out? You're right. Change, change, change. And your x's cancel out. We have negative 36 plus 126 gives us 90y. Negative 12 plus negative 168 gives us negative 180. How do I solve? Oh my, divide by 90. And we get negative 2. All right. Pick an equation, it doesn't matter which one. Let's pick the top one. 9y minus 3 equals negative 7x. This one's going to look just like the last one. We're going to plug in negative 2 for y. So it's going to be 9 times negative 2 minus 3 equals negative 7x. All of this will go in your calculator at one time. So 9 times negative 2 minus 3 is negative 21 equals negative 7x. Finish it out, divide by that negative 7, and x is going to equal positive 3. So your point answer, x, y, is 3, negative 2. All right, so if we look at number 8, x and y are on the same side. Yes, they're out of order. You can fix them if you want to. And what I mean by that is you can just switch them around. 7x minus y equals negative 9. Or you can leave them like they are. It doesn't matter. We didn't take them over the equals, so we don't change their signs. We leave them alone, okay? But if we look at the bottom one, negative 7x is on the correct side, so we're just going to line it up. The y is on the wrong side, so I need to move it over. It's a positive 7y, so it's going to become a negative 7y. And then this negative 7 is on the correct side, so I don't want to touch it. Okay, so move what you have to. Don't touch what you don't. All right, what do you notice? Yeah, they already cancel out. I don't have to do any other kind of work on there. Add them up. Negative 1 plus negative 7 is negative 8y. And negative 8 minus 7 or plus negative 7 is negative 16. We're going to divide by negative 8. And we do get y equals 2. Again, pick an equation. It doesn't matter. This time I'll pick the bottom one. Negative 7x equals 7y minus 7. And the 2's going in for the y. So we get negative 7x equals 7 times 2 minus 7. These are all numbers. They can go in your calculator at one time. 7 times 2 is 14. Minus 7 is 7. Again, you can use your calculator. It doesn't matter. We're going to divide both sides by negative 7. And we get x equals negative 1. Your coordinate is x, y, or negative 1, 2. Any questions? Yes. Yes. Always tell me. Always. All right. We'll go to number 9. Remember, the order that we want it is like this. X and then Y and then a number. Okay, so we're just trying to rearrange it so it looks like that. And we're going to rearrange both equations so they look like that. So the question you ask, we want the X first. Is the X on the correct side? No, so we need to move it over. And how do we do that? So I'm going to subtract 8x. Then ask yourself, is the Y on the same side or is it on the correct side? It is fine. So leave it alone. It's a positive 5y. The number is not on the correct side, so I change its sign and move it to the other side and make it a -8. Same thing with the second equation. Is the x on the correct side? Yep, so we just write it down. Is the y on the correct side? So how do we get it on the other side? Change the sign, so -14y. And then the 32 is not on the correct side, so we put it on the other side by making it positive. Is everybody okay with rearranging? Okay. So then you look for numbers that are the same, and we don't have those. So when we don't have any numbers the same, we do flip it. So 32 and -8. And then we distribute. That's a 32. We're going to distribute it in here. Again, use your calculator if you have to. So we have 32 times -8 gives us -256x. Distribute your 32 to your 5. And we get 160y. And then distribute your 32 to your -8, which we already did. And got -256. So all I did was multiply right there. Do the same thing on the bottom, multiply. -8 times 32, which we've done a couple times, should be the same number. Otherwise, you're doing it wrong. Okay. -8 times -14. Sorry, I hit something weird. -8 times -14 is a positive 112y. And then -8 times 32 is -256. Is everybody okay with the multiply? That's what we did yesterday. How do we get them to cancel out? Change, change, change. Your 256 cancels out, so your x's cancel out. 160 plus -112 gives us 48y. What happens to these 256s? They cancel out as well, but they make 0. So then we want to get y by itself. Since we're multiplying those two, we're going to divide by 48. And we just get that y is 0. Pick an equation to plug into. I'm going to pick the top one because those numbers are a lot smaller than the bottom ones. So 5y plus 8 equals 8x. And we're going to plug in 0 for y. So 5 times 0 plus 8 equals 8x. Right. All of this can go in your calculator, but you can do this in your head. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 8 is 8, equals 8x. Finish it out, divide by 8, and you get x equals 1. So your coordinate answer is x and y. So x comma y, 1, 0. We have one more that we rearranged that are nice, and then the rest have fractions. So we'll talk about those fractions. They're not hard to work with, okay? So don't stress out. I'm going to get rid of the fractions for you so you don't even have to look at them. All right, so let's go to number 11. In the first equation, the x is on the right side, so we're okay. How do I get the y on the other side? It's a -4y, so when I put it on the other side, it's going to be positive 4y. The -12 is on the correct side, so we leave it alone. So if it's on the correct side, leave it alone. If it's on the wrong side, change the sign. Right. Start with our x again. Is it on the correct side? Nope. So we're just going to change the sign. Is our y on the correct side? Nope. Change the sign. And then is our 63 on the correct side? Nope. Change the sign. Absolutely nothing looks alike. So what do I have to do? Switch and multiply. So this one's going to be -6. And that one's going to be -27. So that's a -27 hanging out there and a -6. We're going to distribute, and this will make our new equations. -27 times -6 gives us 162. We have -27 times 4 gives us -108. Y. And then -27 times -12 gives us 324. Do the same thing with the bottom equation. -6 times -27 gives us 162. 15 times -6 gives us -90. And then -63 times -6 gives us 378. How do I get them to cancel? Change, change, change. 162's cancel. We have -108 plus 90 gives us -18y. And then we have 324 plus -378 gives us -54. To finish solving, we divide by -18. And we get 3. Pick either equation. I think the top one looks like less numbers or littler numbers anyway. So I have -6x equals -12 minus 4y. And you're going to plug that 3 in for that y. So -6x equals -12 times 4. Sorry, -12 minus 4 times 3. Put that all in your calculator. -12 minus 4 times 3 gives you -24. So all of this, -6x equals -24. Divide by -6. And you get x equals +4. X was 4. Y was 3. All right. Any questions on the ones that are not fractions? You guys okay right now? Okay. If you have questions on your homework, let me know. Let me see which one I want to do first. Let's go back to number 1. So that first equation is all messed up. We need to put our x's and y's on the same side. So let's do that first, and then we'll work with this fraction. But I'm going to get rid of that fraction so it's not going to look that bad, okay? So the 3x is on the wrong side. to put it on the correct side, I'm going to change its sign to make it positive. The negative 7y is on the wrong side. So I'm going to change the sign and put it on the right side. And then negative 20 is on the wrong side, so I'm going to change it to the correct side by changing the sign. All right, so don't freak out. Don't freak out when you see the fraction, because here's what we're going to do. Whatever your denominator is, and this one happens to be the same. That's why I chose this one first. The denominator is 2. That's the number you're going to multiply by. So we're going to take all of this and distribute a 2, and that 2 comes from the denominator. Got it? So multiply it out, and then we'll switch everything out. What's 2 times negative y? If you have to use your calculator on this, and I'll tell you exactly what it's going to do, it's going to get rid of the denominator. So 2 times 7/2 just gives you 7. So that's how you get rid of that denominator. Plus 7 equals, if you do 2 times 1/2, again, it's going to get rid of the denominator and just give you 1x. I want to make this in the same order as this one. So is the x on the correct side? No, so I need to move it over. Is the y on the correct side? Yes or no? Yes, so I just write it down. It's on the correct side of the equal mark. Is the 7 on the correct side? No, so I need to move it to the other side and make it negative. I don't have anything that looks the same, so how do I get it to look the same? Flip these, -1 and 3. I'm going to make my new equations down here so you guys can see them. -1 times 3x is -3x. -1 times 7y is -7y. And -1 times 20 is -20. On the bottom, distribute. 3 times -1 is -3x. They are the same. We're doing it right. 3 times -2y is -6y. And 3 times -7 is -21. How do we get them to cancel out? Change, change, change. And your 3x's cancel out. If you need to, use your calculator. -7 plus 6 is -1y. -20 plus 21 is just 1. How do I finish solving? You divide by -1. And you get y equals -1. Clearly not going to plug it into the fraction equation. You guys understand that? I'm not picking that one. I'm going to pick the top one. -20 equals -3x minus 7y. And y is -1. So -20 equals -3x minus 7 times -1. Combine your like terms, we get -20 equals -3x. A negative times a negative makes a positive. 7 times 1 is 7. Solve for x like we've been doing since the very beginning of the year. I need to get x by itself, so I'm going to subtract that 7. So -20 minus 7 is -27 equals -3x. Last step, divide by -3, and you get x equals 9. Your xy is 9, -1. So what I want to do on the next ones, I think the solving you're going to be okay with. So I want to take all the ones with fractions and just set them up for you. Okay, we're not going to finish solving them out. I just want you to get used to that fraction part. So number 2, Notice how it has different denominators, right? Take the biggest one. So what's the biggest denominator? 9. That's the one we're going to work with. Okay. When we multiply it, 9 times negative 2/3 gives us negative 6. So this is going to change into negative 6y. 9 times 2 is 18. And then 4/9 times 9 is 4. Make sure you put your variables down. We want to put them in order after this. So is your x on the right side, the correct side? No. So I'm going to move it over. How do I move it over? I'm going to subtract that 4x. Is the y on the correct side? Yes. Leave it alone. Is the 18 on the correct side? Yes. Leave it alone. So now you've cleaned up that equation and put it in order. Look at the bottom equation. Is the x on the correct side? Nope. So change its sign and put it on the correct side. Is the negative 27y on the correct side? Yes. Is the 54 on the correct side of the equal mark? Yes. Do what? Okay, not necessary. On this one, flip the front to multiply and solve. So that's all I want to do for the rest of them. Just make sure I set them up. You don't have to solve them. I don't need you to go back and solve them in your notes. All right, look at your next one. What's your denominator? 10. So that's what we're going to multiply. We're going to multiply by the 10. If it's different denominators, multiply by the biggest one. We're going to distribute. So 10 times negative y is negative 10y. If you put it in your calculator, again, the only thing that it's going to do is get rid of that denominator. If it's the same denominator, it's just going to get rid of it. So 10 times negative 70, negative 7 is negative 70. And same thing here, 10 times negative 7, divided by 10 is 7, and equals negative 7x. So one more time, 10 times negative 7/10 gives you just your numerator, negative 7. Same thing on the other one, 10 times negative 7/10. Same thing, just make sure you put your x. Then go back and put them in order and solve. I'm not even gonna make you put them in order, okay? Just wanna work with getting rid of the denominator. Flip to the back. We just have 2 more to look at, and then you can work on your other stuff. What number do I multiply on number 10? 6, your biggest one. Then you distribute it in. This one has quite a bit of distributing. It has 4. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times x is 6x. If you put it in your calculator, 6 times 5/2 gives you 15. And then 6 times 7/6 gives you 7. And that one has a y with it. If we want to fix this, the 6x is on the wrong side, so we move it to the other side. The y is on the wrong side, so we move it to the other side. The 15 is on the correct side. The 0 means absolutely nothing. Okay, so just don't get freaked out if you get a 0 on there. On the bottom equation, the x is on the correct side, but I'm going to line it up. So negative 14x. The y is on the correct side. I'm just going to line it up, negative 18y. And then the 30 is on the correct side. So multiply the front to finish it out and solve it. You do not have to finish it out and solve it. I'm just telling you what you'll do on your quiz. All right, look at your last one. What do I multiply on the last one? The biggest one is which one? 26. Multiply every term by 26. So 26 times 1 is 26. 26 times 4 over 13 gives you 8, equal to 26 times negative 5 over 26 gives you negative 5, and that one has a y with it. So it looks like this. Get your x and y on the same side, on the correct side, move your other number over, and then fix this one as well. Okay. Any questions on how to get rid of fractions? And they'll always work like that. So they don't give you anything crazy. All right, so that's all our notes for today. Make sure that you know how to solve them. I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording.